Yes, next. And tell me what do you want? ఇప్పుడు ఏం కావాలి చెప్పండి. ఇప్పుడు ఏం కావాలి చెప్పండి. Now, just now we discussed what? Periodic functions. Okay. So you may be asked for 2 marks. What is Mendeleev periodic law? What is modern periodic law? What is Moseley's periodic law? So what is modern periodic law? The chemical and physical properties of elements are periodic functions of their atomic number and electronic configuration. In Moseley's, chemical properties and physical properties of elements are periodic functions of their atomic number. In Mendeleev periodic table, the physical and chemical properties of elements are periodic functions of their atomic weight. Okay, atomic weight. Next. Okay, and we have already discussed in a video the factors affecting the ionization potential. You go through that. And next, see here. Electron affinity. Okay, it is also known as electron. It's also known as electron gain enthalpy. It's also known as electron gain enthalpy. See, electron means something regarding the electron. We all know that electron is negative charge particle. And affinity means attraction. Affinity means attraction. Okay, electron affinity. Electron, regarding electron. Everyone knows electron is a negative particle. Affinity, attraction, love. Okay, affection towards electron. Then the same thing given in electron gain enthalpy. Same, electron gaining electron తీసుకోవడము. Okay, electron ని తీసుకోవడం, gaining electron. Then what about this enthalpy? Enthalpy is the energy. Enthalpy is the energy at constant pressure. Okay, so here this indicates what? When an element, say here an element is A. An element is A if it is in neutral state, and if it is in single means isolated. It is not in bonding with any element. It is non-bonded. So it is what? A neutral isolated gaseous atom. So when this neutral isolated gaseous atom gains the electron, what happens? Everyone knows the isolated atom charge is 0, neutral, because the number of electrons in the atom will be equal to number of protons. And everyone knows electrons are negative, protons are positive. Rendu same unnai kabatti charge of the element is 0. So when this neutral gaseous isolated element gains electron, what happens? Number of electrons increases. How many increases? How much they gain? Yes, very good. Uni negative. So as it is gaining 1 electron, then it will get uni negative charge still in the gaseous state. Now, why this element A trying to gain electron, దానికి ఆ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ తీసుకోవాలనేసి ఎందుకు అనిపించింది? Why it is trying to gain electron? దానికి ఏం అవసరము? ఎందుకంటే నేను చిన్నప్పుడు ఒక స్టోరీ చదువుకున్నాను, ఇంకొంచెం ముందుకు వెళ్ళు అనేసి. మీ మదర్ కానీ ఎవరంటే అడిగండి, స్టోరీ ఉంది, ఇంకొంచెం ముందుకెళ్ళు. ఓకేనా? ఇంకొంచెం ముందుకు వెళ్ళు అనేసి ఒక స్టోరీ ఉంటుంది, తెలుగు బుక్ లో ఉండేది. చాలా మంచి స్టోరీ. బికాస్ స్లోలీ ఇఫ్ యూ మూవ్ అహెడ్ విత్ పేషెన్స్ యూ మే గెట్ ఎ గుడ్ డే. ఓకే, స్లోగా పేషెన్స్ తో మనము ఓపికతో ముందుకెళ్తుంటే ఓకేనా ఏమవుతుంది, మనకి ఫ్యూచర్ లో మంచి లాభాలు రావచ్చు, మంచి జరగవచ్చు అన్నట్టు ఒక స్టోరీలో ఏమంటే ఐరనీ ఉంటుంది. ఓకేనా? సో హియర్ వై దిస్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఈస్ having tendency to attract the electron, because the one thing is what? It is a property of small atom. Okay, one thing is that it is small atom, and everyone knows when size is small, what is that? Nuclear charge is more. nuclear charge is more. Because of small size, more nuclear charge, it can attract the electron. It can attract the electron. అయితే అన్ని electrons attract చేస్తాయా? No. Okay. What small atoms attract the electron? If these elements are close to octet. Are close to octet. అంటే వాటికి 1, 2 electrons తీసుకున్నా అనుకోండి. వింటున్నా? If they gain 1 or 2 electron and if they readily get octet configuration like 7th group elements, 6th group elements. Okay, 7th group elements have 7 electrons. So requirement of electron to get octet 1. 6th group elements have 6 electrons. Required how many electrons to get octet? 2. So 7th and 6th group element required 1 or 2 electrons respectively. So what happens? They are close to octet. So this 6th and 7th group elements, because of small size and more nuclear charge, they have more tendency to gain electron, because as they get octet, and by getting octet, they become stable. And we all know that as stability increases, what happens? Energy decreases. So stability is inversely proportional to energy. So the small atoms which have more nuclear charge and requirement of very few electrons to get octet, they readily gain electron, accept electron, and they become stable. And when they become stable, they release energy. And in that case, the released energy is called as electron affinity. Here, as I'm writing in the equation, we have to write as it is EA. And first time you add one electron to the neutral atom, say the energy change is called first electron affinity. So in books we learn what is that? For IP sake, on IP lo em nechukuntamo, it is what? The amount of energy released. When an electron is added to neutral gaseous isolated atom to form unipositive ion. Here, this statement only fits for what? Few elements. But there are some elements. If you go for the IIT or aims like that, see here, nitrogen, beryllium, magnesium, and all the zero group elements, they have positive, highly positive, because beryllium, magnesium has a NS2 configuration, paired up electrons. But nitrogen has a 2p3 half filled, where zero group elements have a octet. So don't think always first electron affinity is negative. IP level came in the negative and cheptavu. Okay, just for IP. But if you go through deep, what is that? For these elements, nitrogen, beryllium, magnesium, zero group, the first electron affinity itself is positive because of the stable electronic configuration. And next, okay, so leaving these elements, why other than these elements, nitrogen, beryllium, magnesium, zero group elements, why other elements lose electron when they gain electron? Because they become octet. Or become very close to octet and become stable. Therefore, they release energy. So in case of such elements, energy is released, and that is called as exothermic. But in the case of nitrogen, beryllium, magnesium, zero group, that is energy is gained endo, is known as endo. Okay, so you added one electron. Bagundi. Okay, first electron affinity in the panchayati, some elements have a negative, but these elements have a positive. ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళ తిప్పలు వాళ్ళకున్నాయి. But in the case of second electron affinity, for all the elements, it is positive. Okay, it is energy absorbed. Because it is endothermic. Why? Because here the energy is absorbed. When it is absorbed, when you add electron, to which you are adding electron? See, not to the neutral atom. atom యాడ్ చేయట్లేవు. ఈసారి నువ్వు ఎవరికి ఎలక్ట్రాన్ యాడ్ చేస్తున్నావు? you're adding the electron to the uninegative ion. ఫస్ట్ స్టెప్ లో atom తీసుకున్నావు, uninegative atom ఎలక్ట్రాన్ అయాన్ వచ్చింది. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు ఈ అయాన్ని తీసుకుంటున్నావు. you are taking this uninegative ion which is in gaseous state. To this you are adding a electron, and what you get here? What you get here? A dinegative anion still in the gaseous state, and here the energy is what? Absorbed. Energy is absorbed. So ikkada equation observe cheste baita rest energy absorb positive untundi, positive, but along the equation it will be having the negative sign. So in the equation it will have a negative sign. So plus and minus, it will be what? Minus, because energy is absorbed. Energy is absorbed here. Energy is absorbed. ఇలాంటి కొన్ని మాయా మర్మాలు ఉంటాయమ్మా కెమిస్ట్రీలో, ఈక్వేషన్ లో. యూ హ్యావ్ టు బీ స్ట్రాంగ్. సో యూ విల్ బి హ్యావింగ్, ఇలా అడుగుతాడు 4 మార్క్స్ కి. what is first electron affinity? What is first electron affinity? So what you have to write it for the IP exam? For IP exam, it is the amount of energy released when an electron is added to neutral gaseous isolated element to form uninegative ion. Since first time an electron, okay, electron added to neutral atom, hence energy release called first electron affinity. Since release negative, then why second electron affinity is positive? Because when you add electron to the uninegative ion, what happens? This incoming electron, kottaga vache electron, this second time added electron will repel with the negative charge. Repel with the negative charge. As you know that electron also negative. To avoid the repulsions, between the negative charge and the incoming electron, some energy is added. Therefore, second electron affinity will be positive. Okay. So here in this you have to write for 4 marks, and you rest know that how electron affinity change in group and period. In a group, electron affinity decreases because size increases, nuclear charge decreases. But in a period, electron affinity increases as atomic size decreases, nuclear charge increases. Now one question: what is the most electron affinity element in the periodic table? Chlorine. Yes, Cl, clever, తెలివి కలది. Okay, chlorine has more electron affinity than fluorine. Okay, than fluorine, about 348 ఏదో ఉంటుంది. Then fluorine will have 337 something ఏదో ఉంటుంది. So you may be having, why chlorine has more electron affinity? Why chlorine has more electron affinity? Due to large size. Because of large size, it can take the electron. When Cl atom, neutral Cl atom takes electron, okay, becomes Cl minus, means the newly coming electron, because of newly coming electron, Cl neutral atom becomes Cl minus chloride ion. So Cl minus ion has how many electrons? Tell me beta. Cl minus ion has how many electrons? 18 electrons. Very good. Okay, the fluoride, everyone knows that. Okay, it's a 2 marks question, chemical bonding also in IP. Okay, when you compare the Cl atom, neutral atom, okay, when it is added electron, it forms Cl minus, which is called chloride ion. Okay, this is chloride ion. So Cl atom has 17 electrons. The Cl minus chloride is having the 18 electrons. This is equal to argon. Therefore stable. Okay. And next, when it is becoming stable 18 electrons, when this electron is added. So the chlorine easily, without any disturbance, easily accepts electron. ఎలాంటి తిప్పలు పడకుండా, ఎలాంటి మనకి ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ చేయకుండా ఈజీలీ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ని గెయిన్ చేస్తుంది. వై? బికాస్ chlorine size is large. Because of large size, it is having the vacant 3d orbitals. vacant 3d orbitals. So presence of the vacant 3 orbitals in the large size when this electron is repelled by this 17 electrons. So this chlorine will place this electron in the one of the vacant d orbital. So therefore, the chlorine can easily accept electron due to large size and vacant d orbitals. So therefore, its attraction, its affinity towards electron is more than fluorine. And fluorine, why could not attract the electron? Why could not gain the electron easily? Same problem. What is that? What is that? Same problem. What is that? Fluorine, atomic number 9, neutral. As this gaining electron becomes F minus, where it will have 10 electrons. Okay, where atom is 9 electrons. Okay, where atom is 9 electrons. Where fluorine atom is atomic number 9. So 9 electrons, neutral atom. When it is gaining 1 electron, becomes fluoride ion, which is having 10 electrons, and this will have a neon configuration. So obviously we know that fluoride is more stable than fluorine atom because of neon configuration. But the tendency to accept electron, with compared to chlorine, the fluorine has less. Okay, that is electron affinity is less for the fluorine, more for the chlorine. Because in the chlorine, large size vacant d orbital, but in fluorine, size is small and 2d is impossible. Second orbit lo d అనేది ఉండదు. D vacant d orbital ఉండదు. అంటే ఈ వచ్చే electron, this electron has to sit along with this 9 electrons. But we know that always electrons have same charges. So the incoming electron and already present electron, they repel with each other. So due to electronic repulsions, this fluorine cannot take the electron. Just attracts, but not gain electron. So due to what? Due to absence, due to small size and absence of vacant d orbitals. So please children, don't think that 2d is possible. Second orbit will have two sublevels, S sublevel, P sublevel. 2d impossible. It's the basic of atomic structure. Understand? So it is a video for the what? Electron gain enthalpy. Okay. And next, ఇంకేం కావాలి? This is okay. And next, for us to go through the videos. ఇంకేమైనా కావాలా? చెప్పండి, ఇంకేముంది ఇక్కడ అబ్బా? What is the group number, block number? What is the group and period and block for element whose atomic number 34? 34. ఇదిగో నేను చెప్తున్నా చూడు హింట్. బ్రోమిన్ 35 టకా. ఓకే, ఫటాఫట్ చెప్పాలి. 36 క్రెప్టాన్. అబ్బా, ఆన్లైన్ స్టూడెంట్స్ అంటే వెరీ ఫటాఫట్ ఉండాలి కదా. క్రెప్టాన్ 36 అవునా? దానికంటే ముందు కేఆర్ ముందు బిఆర్. బ్రోమిన్ 35. సో బ్రోమిన్ 4s2 4p3. ఈ మాత్రం రాకపోతే ఎలా? 4s2 4p3 4p5 సారీ 4s2 4p5 2 plus 5 7th. సో 35 కంటే ముందు 34 4s2 4p4. సో 4s2 4p4 for the 34 atomic number. 4s2 4p4 6 electron, 6th A group. Last electron 34th electron P sublevel, P block, 4th period. అర్థమైందా? ఇలా కొన్ని దాచిపెట్టుకోవాలి, కొన్ని ఎలిమెంట్ దాచిపెట్టుకోవాలి. బ్రోమిన్ 35 కదా, బ్రోమిన్ 35. yes or not? Bromine 35. Okay, and this non-metal which is a liquid. ఇంకో మాట చెప్పనా, బ్రోమిన్ అటామిక్ వెయిట్ is 680. బ్రోమిన్ అటామిక్ వెయిట్ is 80. ఓకేనా? 80. నీకు గుర్తు పెట్టుకోండి, నేను చెప్తాను చూడండి. ఈ మేడం ఉంది, ఈ మేడం 80లో పుట్టింది మేడం. సరేనా? బ్రోమిన్ అటామిక్ వెయిట్ is 80. Okay, which is my birth year. Okay, remember, and this is bromine is what? One of the non-metallic liquid. Sarena? So next, what are inverted pairs? Anomalous pairs? Tellurium, iodine, cobalt, nickel, argon, potassium, thorium, protactinium, because these elements are arranged in decreasing order of their atomic weights in Mendeleev periodic table. Chadukovali. Okay na? Isoelectronic series. Okay, the remaining you go through that and you have to learn transition elements. What are transition elements? These all are what? D block elements. Transition elements are D block elements. See, remember, all the transition elements are D block, but all the D block elements are not a transition, because the D block elements may have completely filled or partially filled Ns and N-1D level, but transition elements must have partially filled N-1D and Ns level. Yes or not? Because of partially filled N-1D and Ns level, they show transition, movement of electrons, transition. And for the movement of these electrons from one d orbital to another d orbital, they absorb one of the color light from VIBGR. So when they absorb one of the color, they show complementary color. Okay, if it is absorbing the bluish green, appears in the orange reddish. The plants are green. Appears as green, but absorbs the red color. Okay, so all the transition elements are D block, but they have partially filled N-1D level and Ns level. Because of at least one unpaired electron, they show DD transition. Means the unpaired electron move from one d orbital to another d orbital. This is called transition. Because of this, they form color compounds, color ions. And because of unpaired electrons, they act as magnet. The magnet means very good, Shrikar, paramagnetic nature. Okay, paramagnetic nature. The very strong paramagnetic is ferro. I gave in notes. Check it. And they form complexes. Because of vacant d orbitals. If 3D series, 3D may be filled, 4D is incomplete. Yes or not? If 4D series elements, 4D may be complete, but 5D is what it is? Vacant. So due to vacant orbitals, okay, N-1D and ND, they form complexes by accepting electron pair, which contain coordinate covalent bond. Okay, and all the transition elements act as catalyst in reactions. What is catalyst? Which speed up the reaction. But some catalyst may slow down the reaction also. Konni catalyst reaction ni fast chestayi. They're called positive catalyst. Some slow down the reaction, slow chestayi, negative catalyst. So in hydrogenation of oils, nickel. In Haber's process, that is formation of ammonia, iron. And in preparation of sulfuric acid, vanadium pentoxide or platinum metal is used. All these are what? Transition elements. And all we know that all the transition elements except mercury, all are solids, means high melting point, good conductors of heat and electricity. Okay, so used to make alloys, and alloys means the different ornaments. You cannot make jewelry with pure gold. Okay, pure gold is soft. When it is mixed with copper, enta copper add chestavo anta strong untundi. Andike copper add chestadu. Ardhamautunda? So nee gold smith daggara nuvu స్వర్ణకారుడు అంటారు. గోల్డ్ స్మిత్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళేసి ప్యూర్ గోల్డ్ ఇచ్చావు, ఒక మంచి ఆర్నమెంట్ చెయ్యి, అటు తిప్పి బాగా తిప్పి డిజైన్ పెట్టు అంటే అని తెలుసా, మంచి డిజైన్ చేశాడు, కానీ యాడ్ మోర్ కాపర్. బికాస్ యాజ్ కాపర్ is added more, then what happens? Due to mixing of different metals, their hardness increases, their malleability increases, their ductility increases. Malleability means the tendency of metal to become థిన్ షీట్స్, ప్లేట్స్ లాగా, ఓకేనా, రేక్ లాగా అవుతుంది. అండ్ డక్టిలిటీ మీన్స్ ట్యూబ్స్. సో టు ఎన్హాన్స్ ది malleability and this ductility, the metals are mixed from alloys. These all are what? The properties of transition elements. Okay, then here come, what are representative elements? What are representative elements? I'm your, listen, I'm your chemistry represent. Yes or not? మీకు కెమిస్ట్రీ అనగానే ఎవరు గుర్తొస్తారు? వెరీ గుడ్ ఆకాష్, వెరీ గుడ్. బోత్ ఎస్ అండ్ పి బ్లాక్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ జీరో గ్రూప్. దట్ ఈస్ ద రైట్ ఆన్సర్. ఓకే, బుక్ లో తప్పిచ్చాడు, ఎస్ అండ్ పి అని ఇచ్చాడు, తప్పిచ్చాడు. ఎవరు టైప్ కొట్టారో తెలియదు. టైప్ కొట్టేవాడు కెమిస్ట్రీ రాదు కదా, టైపిస్ట్ మాత్రమే, అంతే కదమ్మా. ఓకే, ఆ కరెక్షన్ జరగలేదు. సో బుక్ లో నీకు ఎస్ అండ్ పి బ్లాక్ ఉంటుంది, రాంగ్. ఓకే, representative elements are of course S and P, but all not P. Yes or not? Anni P kaadu, because zero group is also P block. Yes or not? NS2 NP6. See here, right? So see here. Now what is chemistry, beta? What is chemistry? Chemistry ante reactions. Okay, chemistry. Me అక్కనో, మీ లేదా ఫ్రెండ్నో, మీ మమ్మీనో, మీ డాడీనో, మీ అమ్మమ్మనో, బామ్మనో, మీ తాతయ్యని ఎవరైనా చెప్పండి, మామయ్యని, నేను కెమిస్ట్రీలో డిగ్రీ చేస్తున్నాను లేకపోతే పీజీ చేస్తున్నాను అంటే వాళ్ళు ఏమంటారు? ఓహో, రకరకాల కెమికల్ రియాక్షన్స్ ఉంటాయి అనేసి చెప్తారు వాళ్ళు నీకు, అవునా? ఆటమ్స్, ఎలిమెంట్స్, బాండ్స్ అంటారు. ఇవన్నీ ఏంటివి? కెమిస్ట్రీ. సో కెమిస్ట్రీ మీన్స్ బాండ్ ఫార్మేషన్. Bond breaking, and bond means two electrons. The play of electrons is chemistry. So the elements which stands as representative to explain the what is chemistry, how the bond is formed. Okay, so the elements which are used to explain chemical bond formation or chemical reactions are called as representative elements. So you all know that which elements participate in bond formation, or we know the question, why elements have tendency to form bond to get stability. ఎవరైనా సరే, నేను హ్యాపీగా ఉండాలి, ఓకేనా, నువ్వు ఎలా ఉన్నా నాకు సంబంధం లేదు, నేను హ్యాపీగా ఉండాలి, నాకు ఒక ఎలక్ట్రాన్ కావాలి, నేను నీ దగ్గర లాక్కుంటా, ఓకేనా? ఎస్ ఆర్ నాట్? ఎందుకు? నేను ఎలక్ట్రాన్ నెగిటివ్ ఎలిమెంట్, నాకు ఒక ఎలక్ట్రాన్ కావాలి, నువ్వు ఏమన్నా అయిపో, వింటున్నావా? సో the elements have tendency to get stability. So that stability can be obtained by loss or gain of electrons. Sometimes by sharing of electrons. So loss, okay? See here, loss from cation, gain of electron from anion, or sharing, mutual sharing. Okay, that is covalent bond. Okay, so the elements which have incomplete octet means which have less than octet configuration. The elements which have less than octet configuration, they try to get octet configuration by loss of electron, by gain of electron. In such case, they form ionic bond. Or some elements which are small in size, they share electrons and form covalent bond. So what are these elements? These all are what? S block elements. Now tell me, how many S block elements? Two groups are there. And P block elements. Now tell me, how many groups in the P? 6. So 6 groups. Now tell me, if you combine the S and P block, how many total groups are there? 8 groups. But remember, here there is a group. What is that? 8th group or 0 group. Why this 0 group called? Because their chemical bond formation tendency is 0. They cannot form a bond because of 8 electrons. NS2, NP6, except helium. except helium. The zero group elements which are one of the p block, okay, except the zero group, all the p block. So from the p block remove one the zero group. So p block lo change zero and 6 become 5. Okay, the S and P block elements except 0. Total how many? 7 groups. Okay, the 7 groups which are named by A. Okay, 1A to 7th A. 1A to 7th A. They have an incomplete octet. They have an incomplete octet. Less than the 8 electrons in their outermost shell. So therefore, they lose or gain electron to form ionic bond. Sometimes, other than metals, they share electron to form covalent bond. So thus, they represent bond formation and different chemical reactions called as representative elements. So therefore, what will be their general electronic configuration? What will be their general electronic configuration? S block element. What is S block element? S block element means NS1 to 2. It is NS1, 1A. It is NS2, 2A. And here P block also. So you have to write along with NP. So when NS1, NP0, NS2, NP0. After completion of NS2, then NP starts. After this, what it is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up to the 5. You should not write here 6. Understand? So this is the general electronic configuration of representative elements. NS1 to 2, NP0 to 5. Is that clear? And all the representative elements include all the S block elements are metals and all the S block elements except hydrogen and helium. Okay, all the S block elements except hydrogen and helium all are metals which form bases, which loses electron, electropositive and reducing agents, form cations. And P block elements which contain some non-metals, some metals, some metalloids. When non-metals electronegative oxidizing agents form anions and they form a ionic bond with S block elements and these non-metals act as oxidizing agent. So down the group in P block, what happens? Metallic nature increases. Okay, and among the non-metals, what is the bond form? Covalent bond. So these are what known as representative elements. Keep it up. Okay, learn thoroughly. If you have any doubts, ask me. Tomorrow we'll revise for new batch stoichiometry numericals. Stoichiometry numericals. And for old batch states of matter and chemical bonding few topics. Prepare well. Thank you.